What the f? When I was a kid, I had a dream, and I'm bringing that dream to life over the last couple of years. I'm gonna be converting this XC into an absolute monster. We stripped the thing down and went full built not bought spec on this. I started with 2 lengths of RHS, built myself a handmade chassis. People always wanted me to do a full built not bought build from scratch, so here we are. So over the last couple of years, it's transformed. We've made a chassis, we've made suspension parts. We've pretty much got this thing to the point where we can pretty much lay our body on it now. We're using some massive coilover shocks, and we've welded up all the tabs and stuff for that. We've got triple bypass and coilovers on every corner. It's absolutely massive. Finally got to see what it looked like with the body on here. We did a little mock-up for the motor as well. Done a flex as well. It flexed way better than we thought, which is actually amazing. And now we're finally moving on to getting some motor in this thing. It's gonna be huge. 2 turbos, a 671 supercharger. I wanted to make it absolutely massive. So now you're brought up to speed on this project. Let's see where we're at this week.
You look like you've had a long weekend, got pretty wasted, bud. Look at how much dust on her face. She looks absolutely clapped. Look at all it. Oh, not on the paint job. All right.
Whoa! No, I'm not gonna do that. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another XC episode. So we're finally on the reassemble process. You would have seen last episode. Would they have seen us making this?
No, we didn't film this.
Oh.
What I did in the break.
What I did in the break, we didn't film. I finished welding out all the diffs and painted them all with that same paint that we did the chassis with. So it came up a treat, hit a lot of sand welds, and now they look great. But in today's episode, we're doing something a little bit different to start off. We've got some, for these arms over here, actually come over this way. They're a bit bland and boring. So we've cut out some alley pieces on the plasma cutter, and we're gonna polish that alley up to a mirror finish.
Wow, we'll try and do mirror. We'll see how
we're gonna try our best to do a mirror finish. So let's go over this way and start into that process.
There's my little design.
Looks
I feel
good.
like this is like my signature, just crisscross. I don't know what to call it.
Futuristic.
The futuristic crisscross
The future of autism.
Stop it. The plasma doesn't leave the best finish. It's not laser quality, so you've got to sand it back anyway to get the burrs off it. So I'm going to smash it with some 3200.
Rightio. So we're going to start off with 320 grit.
320 grit.
Then we're going to move to 1000.
1000.
Big jump because Super Cheap didn't have enough pads.
And this went to, and then double it again, 2000 grit. And we're going to try this stuff, which is mag and aluminium polish. Sounds about right stuff that we need, and it's also the #1 best-selling metal polisher
in the whole world.
I'm going to try 2 things. We've got a buff pad here, which might be a little bit hectic and aggressive, or whack this on the end of a drill, and it's just a little, just rotates and you can have a bit more control. I also ripped the grill out of the shed, out of the sea container, so the plan with this, we're going to paint it probably gloss black, and then we're going to put some little red stripes across the grill parts, and maybe make a little laser cut bloody FLEXC design on the front too. So new headlights going in, got some round GQ modded ones, halo lights, we'll get them mounted, black out the grill, get these polished so we can finish the arms, and it's just assembly time.
Yeah, and we're ready to go. Slap the motor and go for a drive.
Ooh, new drill, handy. Alright, I've spent 2 days letting all the control arms dry out there in the heat. I tell you what, it's like watching paint dry. But I can finally put on all the plates, so those bits of alley that we polished up, I've riveted them on. Finally got to use my favorite little tool from SP. It's an automatic bloody electric riveter. So easy. So we put some 5mm rivets in them. And now, I mean, it is a Sunday today, but when you're feeling motivated, you might as well do some stuff. Now I'm gonna lay out all the arms here. I've got the chassis, I'm about to lift it up on the hoist. We'll get that at right height, roll the diffs under, and now that everything's painted, I can probably put it together like final assembly. So start putting the diffs and arms back in. I won't put shocks in yet, we'll just get like the alignment done, get pinion angles right, get the diffs centered with the pan hard and everything. And once that's all finished, then throw the shocks in, and we're gonna have to deal with spring heights and all sorts of stuff. So that can't happen until the motor's in, so you need full weight on the thing. But that'll be a rolling chassis complete. Everything painted, all the arms on. I'll put all the brake lines on as well. And then it's just focusing on the body, wiring, motor, drop it on, and the car's done. Now that's a wrench. All right, we got a little bit carried away. That's what kind of happens when you start getting to the reassembly stage. I've already gone to put the diffs in, so those new control arms that we polished up with the alley parts. Done a little bit of a home job wheel alignment, just by measuring with our eyes and stuff. We can't finalize doing the full alignment because we're gonna wait till all the weight's on the bodies on the motors in, get it sitting at right height where the springs and shocks are happy, and then line everything up. There's a couple more little plates to go on the side steps here. So these will get polished up in alley as well, just to kind of match the theme the whole way through. Got to wait them on. We'll head outside. All right, rear diffs are ready to go. So we've obviously painted it up, put new brakes on. We've done our own brake lines that you saw in the last episode. We've got new rotors for the rears as well. Wheels and tires are ready to go on. Now these, I haven't spoken about these. I actually got them probably 2 or 3 years ago. We used them. There's a photo of my patrol with these 40s on. It's pretty epic. They've been on a few different funny things here and there, but this was the build they originally got purchased for. So they're Black Bear Mud Terrain, 40-inch tires. What are they? 40 by 15, 20-inch rims. Now these rims are hectic. So they're a fuel off-road They're a fuel off-road rim. 8 stud. You could only get 8 stud. They purely got sent in from America specifically for this build because nothing in Australia is like this. They're 76mm neg offset. I think they're 15-inch wide, 20-inch diameter, huge rim. And we have a little special idea, something I want to try and do on the inside here that I actually got from, shout out to Dylan King over in WA. He did it on one of his builds, which I'm sure he got the inspiration from America. He gets a lot of his stuff from the US. It's pretty crazy what they do over there. So we're going to try and do it on this. We've got a big enough dish, so you can maybe think about what I'm trying to do there. So we've got to put the wheels on this diff, get it under the car. And then obviously the start of this episode, we spoke about the grille. I've laid some black on it. Now I'm gonna let that dry, run some strips of red across there, and then probably start looking at designing a little FLEXC plate on there on the plasma, and maybe polish that or paint it, I'm not sure yet. Then we're waiting on lights, get all that in, front end can go on, and then it's just finishing off the body. So TJ's come to have a look. We'll see what he reckons of the engine. But I think the mic's on this time. TJ, pretend it's your first reaction.
Holy
Whoa! Oh, first time!
That's the longest exhaust I've ever seen.
Oh, the Patriot boys just came and the mic was off the whole time, so at least it's on now. What do you reckon, bud? What do you reckon?
Yeah, very interesting. Would it fit in my LN?
It will not.
Man, it's crazy.
It's crazy. It'll fit in the boot of the LN. It's put 2 motors in it.
Oh, we gotta rip some beads on it. What have you created? It needs more turbos. Oh yeah, I see what you've done wrong. What in the snapping duck shit is this engine? What the f?
I got a haircut. Yes, I did. That's why I look different. To be honest, my head needed a full-on reset. The mullet was getting out of control. Anyway, we're here with this week's tech tip. We do have a giveaway happening with REDARC, so stay tuned to the end of this tech tip to find out what you can win and how you can win it. But first, last week we had the toolbox from SP Tools giveaway, literally a complete toolkit. So let's jump over to the computer and draw the winner of that. Now, this is my temporary office. I'm on a camping table because my air conditioning isn't working in my office. Well, it's not even installed in my office yet. All right, so this is from last week's episode, and we are giving away a full toolkit from SP Tools. So let's see who the winner is. We had almost 800 entries in this, so let's see who the winner is. Oh, is it gonna work? Press start. Yeah, well, I just want, what other website? Yeah, but I'll just do the 500. All right, since they've changed the rules on that bloody website, we're gonna do it the old fashioned way where you do a random scroll and go all the way down and up and to the middle and pick a random comment. Here. Shane, working on D40 that needs most of the aircon system replaced this weekend, has an intermittent cabin water leak. Sounds like you got a lot of work to do on your car. So Shane, I'll reply to your comment right now and you are the winner of the toolkit. So hopefully we'll get in contact with you, I'll email you and send that out to you. So back to the tech tip. All right, we're back. Today we are, look, this is a new product from REDARC. Battery systems, we all know, is very expensive to do on four-wheel drives, but it's one of the main things you need when you do want to go traveling to remote places to run your microwave or your hair straightener. Or literally, I've used a hedge trimmer before off of my inverter. It's pretty crazy. You can literally run TV, laptops, computers, anything you want. So this is a good way to get some of that fancy technology without breaking the budget. So it is a brand new product from REDARC and it is their smart battery monitor. All you need is literally this little guy and a dual battery system and a phone. Everyone's got a phone these days. It's basically a shunt adapter, but it Bluetooth connects to your phone to get wireless live information to show state of charge, how much is left in your battery, what's coming in, what's going out, the temperature of the battery, and the current voltage, which is crucial for batteries that aren't lithium, for example. So we've got Mitch on the camera here. I might get him to come a bit closer so we can look at this. Okay, so I've done a little bit of a mock setup, we'd call it. So essentially what we've got here is a lithium battery. It's a 200 amp hour from REDARC, but you can literally use any battery. It doesn't need to be lithium. It could just be your normal AGM. And what it does, it connects in between the earth lead, not the positive, the earth lead, and your new earth will be on this shunt connector, and then the earth lead runs to the battery, and then you use your positive as normal, and it has a little positive cable that goes to this connector. I've already gone through and set up with the Bluetooth to connect to this thing. It was super easy, so we'll see here, it'll just connect up and show the battery. Now, like any REDARC product or any 12-volt system, in order for it to understand how much charge is left, it needs to do a full charge to 100% to begin with. So just ignore the fact that it's at 0, but if this battery goes through a full charge cycle, get to 100, then it will know where it sits from there. But I just want to show you, basically on the screen, we've got the temperature, so it's 26 degrees, 13.1 volts. I've got a compressor here. If we fire that up, it'll make a little bit of noise. But you'll see on the screen, it pretty much shows exactly what's coming out of the battery. So we're pulling 22 amps with this compressor, and it'll also show you how much time you've got left until your battery's flat. So it works pretty much like a Red Vision. If anyone's got the Red Vision or the TVMS, it shows all that information, but this is a really affordable way to have that connectivity and control while you're in the car. You can literally just have this in the cab and you can whack this stuff in the back. So we are giving one of these away. So if you want to win a controller, we're also throwing in one of these BCDC 40s core as well. So if you want a core charger and one of the shunt converters from the brand new smart charger, all you got to do, follow REDARC on Instagram and make sure to comment down below and let me know where your next trip is. Or if you don't have any trips planned, where you would like to go. I just want to know where you're traveling in Australia. We'll be picking a winner next week's episode in the comments. You'll win a smart charger and the BCDC core. Get in it to win it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the businesses that support Built Not Bought. All right, that's enough getting sidetracked, playing silly buggers with the boys. It's good for them to drop around though, but we need to get back on what we're actually doing. So the chassis is finally done. It's off the hoist. We've put all those arms on and I'm pretty happy with the way that those little plates came out. It tries to tie in that color. I think the theme has naturally become black, red with the anodization, and then having those little bits of chrome and polished aluminium. So that's good for now, ready for a body to go on. I want to go back to the motor for a second because there's a drama which I wanted to try and avoid, but I haven't. So let's have a look. All right, like absolute camera trickery. The motor is disassembled again. All the turbos and that are off and we're back to a bare engine. So as mentioned in some previous episodes, we need to run this in before we put the turbos and the blower on. But the biggest thing having that flat tappet cam is to make sure the cam's bedded in and there's a startup sequence and all of that. There's one extra thing that was in the back of my mind, which was spring pressure, the valve spring pressure. If it's more than 100 pound, that can also lead to premature failure of the cam. So to avoid that, I've got a really lumpy cam in this thing to make it have that awesome sort of street car thump to it, which means it's got high lift, good duration, all of that. And there's a lot of extra pressure on the valves than a standard cam. So For the third time now, I have to pull off all the rocker gear, and we're gonna have to remove the center spring of the valve. So with these springs, there's two sets. There's an outer and an inner. So we'll remove all the center springs to loosen up the valve train, let the motor run in where there's less stress and force on the cam, then put these valves back in, and it will be able to handle that higher RPM. So hopefully it's the last time these covers come off, get these rockers off, and then we can pretty much start building the exhaust to run this thing in with mufflers and that, so we can hear what's going on, make sure there's no rod knocks or anything. Just did that for like the fourth time. Now the rocker's off. Now I'm slightly confused. I've got this tool here that I've had for years, which I had from doing LS valves. Now the thing is, obviously, if you compress your valve spring, your valve's gonna fall through into the cylinder. So you gotta compress your cylinder. So I've got this little fitting here which pumps air into the cylinder, put the piston at top dead center, gives it enough pressure to hold that valve in. So they've taken a spring out now, and there are two springs in there, but it doesn't look like they're removable like easy. I mean, I could fandangle it out, but I don't want to go through and do that a million times if I don't have to. So I'm going to try and jump on the phone to my engine builder and see if he's still got the specs for these springs. Otherwise, his son Joel answered the phone the other day, and he's like, look, if it's near like 110, 120 pound, you'd probably get away with it, but I don't want to, like, you might get away with it answer. I want it to work. So if these springs aren't too hectic, then I'll just leave them in. But if they do have to come off, it's going to be a bit of work. So I don't want to go ahead and do it if it's not required. And it may not even be possible. Just the design of this, it just doesn't look like that comes out. I've seen other dual valve springs where both the springs look like a coil spring, whereas the inside one in this is like a flat ring. So as it's inside the spring, it wants to push out against the other spring, which means when it comes out, it'd be like almost impossible to get it back in. So I don't want to go play with that if I don't have to. So we'll hold the phone for now. Hopefully it gets back to me and we'll have an answer. All right, since I cracked the shits with these rockers that I've done like 400 times over, I'm gonna start with the exhaust. So the reason I'm putting a temporary muffled exhaust on is so I can hear what's going on when you first start up the engine. If it's just shooting out the headers, yeah, it might work, sound good, but if that thing's got a bottom end rod knock, I'm not gonna hear it. So mufflers it is. So I cut a couple of 90s in half that I had lying around. That should bring it down to the floor, 45 on the bottom, out to some mufflers. If you come out here, shout out to Macca. He, I'm gonna say gave me, but he says lent me these mufflers. They're actually very rare off the K truck from Chevrolet K10 is the K truck. These are actually Pro Flow exhausts. He says, Sam, take very good care of them. They're in good condition, no rust, very easy to weld. I'm pretty sure he's not gonna get these back. So we've got to 3-inch V-bands down to the floor, onto these mufflers, which I could possibly weld straight to here, or do a bit of a flange, cut, expand, all that jazz. We're gonna MIG weld this thing up. I'm not even gonna bother getting the TIG out, it's only temporary. Let the thing rust. So let's whack up this exhaust and then we can start it. This looks so ugly. Love it.
What's going on, guys? In this episode, I'm going to be doing the most controversial video Build Not Board has ever released. Really? This is probably going to be up there. In today's video, I'm welding my front diff. Before you go and attack me, do some lateral thinking. If you have manual locking hubs, it's basically like having an auto locker anyway, except it doesn't play up and make annoying noises around corners. So with welding your front diff, if you're on the beach and still want to drive, lock in one hub, 3-wheel drive, just like it normally would. If you get caught up on Woolies gutters when you're flexing up in the car park, both hubs, front locker, no problem. So I'm actually going to Glasshouse Mountains tomorrow to take this thing seriously wheeling. So that's my motive to weld the front diff. Hope you guys understand and don't roast me in the comments. Alright, now we've got the diff center out, it's time to pull the diff apart and pull the center out of it. So we're going to rip off our little retaining clips here. I'm just going to mark a mark there, so once I get, I don't know, so we can put it back together properly. Now we're going to rip, tear, bust, pull off these. Take note of how many ugga-duggers it took to get them out. Knock these bad boys off. And now we have what we want to weld. Sped's over here doing something. Anyways, what we're doing is welding all these gears inside of here. Can you be quiet? Hello. So we're welding these gears together. That way both axles are going to turn at the same time.
Actually, just on that, did you know we have a discount code for Superior Engineering? Since we're talking about diffs and shocks and stuff. You guys, use code BNB. Like Superior have they barely do discount codes, and you can actually save like thousands of dollars. So yeah, if you're on the market for suspension, use code BNB, save yourself some money. So
what I've gone and done to weld your diff properly so it's strong and actually lasts a little bit longer than usual, you're going to weld your teeth together, and then we're going to make a little plate that goes in there, and you can weld each spider gear to the plate as well, so it's going to make it really strong.
oh, that's not a helmet I'm wearing.
And we're just going to heat everything to roughly about a gazillion degrees so we get nice penetration. Generally, leaving your cleaning rag right next to where you're welding is not the greatest idea. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah. Now we've welded our teeth together, we're going to weld this plate in here as well. So you're going to sit it in there. Something really important that I actually learnt about 30 minutes ago off YouTube when I googled how to weld a diff. You've got to make sure your plate doesn't come below where your axle slides in, because if it drops below there, your axle can't go all the way in and you'll f*** yourself. As you can see, we've just glued that plate in there. Rightio, so now onto the reassembly process. We're just going to throw everything back together how it came off and then test her out and she should be all good.
A few moments later.
Rightio, my diff's back in and my 35s are now on. Now, you're all probably wondering what drove me to do this. What drove me to weld my front diff? Tomorrow we're going to Glasshouse Mountains, and the last thing I want is to be beat by Sam's Patrol.